So yeah, you see it a lot, like, you know what I mean? And every time I would go to McDonald's or whatever, like, okay, if you're working out a lot, like, you can eat at McDonald's, like, a little bit more than just once in a while and, like, kind of get away with it. I still don't recommend it, obviously, but I'm just, like saying, like, okay, if I, like, wasn't at home, I wasn't able to cook, and I was, like, out and about or, like, with some chick or somewhere far away, you know the drill, right? And, like, had to get some food, like, late at night, yo, and I would go to McDonald's because, like, let's face it, that's, like, the main spot that's usually always open, right? So I used to get, like, double cheeseburgers, so they were my favorite, man. Like, obviously they don't compare to the Wendy's, like, Dave's special or whatever it's called, like, double cheeseburger or triple cheeseburger. And even those I used to get with 4 patties. But McDonald's, like, yeah, double cheeseburgers, like, at least, like, 7 cheeseburgers, like, double cheeseburgers, you know? And sometimes I'll mix it up and add in, like, junior chicken and double cheeseburgers and, like, you know what I mean? So, but, like, the cheeseburgers were my favorite, you know what I mean? That's something I miss about, like, you know, being a vegetarian now. That's one thing I do miss. But, you know, maybe I can find, like, vegan alternatives that taste just as good. But, you know, so yeah. And then, like, I remember this one time I got, like, 7 patties on, like, a double cheeseburger, you know, just for the extra protein. But I don't recommend it because, like, I don't know if it's just McDonald's or all of them, but, like, the patties I got were, like, they were too much, like, they were too salty, you know, in that quantity. It was hard to eat. Like, when it's just 2 in, like, a double cheeseburger, like, it's easy to eat, right? But when it's, like, 7 of them stacked, nah, it's too salty. It was way too salty. It might have just been that night, or maybe the patties are, like, that salty, but you just don't notice them when you only eat, like, 1 or 2, right? But yeah, so the whole eat big to get big, yeah, it has, like, its basis, to be honest. Like, you do have to eat big to get big, but you can't overdo it because then you might be getting big in, like, the wrong way, you know? And you don't want that because then it ruins the look. The whole point is to build muscle everywhere else, but keep, like, your stomach area, like your midsection, slim and trimmed, right? Or at least as tight as possible. Like, you don't always have to have, like, a 6-pack if, like, you're, like, you know, bulking or whatever, but it's still a good idea to, like, you know, just for the overall look, to make sure, like, you're not getting too much fat. Like, I know most of this, what I'm saying is, like, you know, normal advice that you might get at, like, other, you know, places or whatever, but I'm also speaking from, like, experience of stuff I actually tried myself. And now you might be like, you lift heavy, right? But you're not growing too much, right? Chances are maybe you're just doing, like, 8 to 12 reps, right? Because it's, like, hypertrophy training, or, like, the stuff you usually see at, like, bodybuilding.com. But in my experience, like, if you don't really have, like, the base, like, the strength, right? And then you just, like, are starting with the 8 to 12 rep range or whatever, it's not really gonna, like, be as great as if, like, you started at a lower rep range for a while, like maybe 5 reps, and then, like, after a while, like, you know, you built up your strength, and then you decided to, like, go more traditional bodybuilding style, like, workouts, right? Like 8 to 12 reps and all that. But then this is the thing, like, people don't understand, it's not just about the reps. See, that's why, like, you know, doing 5x5, like 5 sets of 5 reps is the best way to get started, because it, like, teaches you, like, because the weight is so heavy, you have to push to get to 5. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, like, because it's so heavy and it seems easier, right? Instead of, like, having to do 10 reps with that much weight. So you push and push and you get to 5 reps, and by, like, the time you're at the 5th one, you're pretty, like, taxed. You know what I mean? You're tired, beyond tired, actually. You know, and then, like, you have another set to go and all that. But what that teaches you is, like, the last rep should be very hard, or it should start getting more and more difficult, right? But when you're just using like lighter weights with like 8 to 12 reps, you don't really get to understand that concept. At least I didn't personally. And it was only after I started lifting heavy that like I really grew. And even after I like switched my style, like I grew. I just kept growing because I had the base, right? And it's just like when you like start off with the strength training kind of stuff, like 5 reps or whatever, and then you do that for a while, and then like over time you switch to like a traditional bodybuilding layout, like 8 to 12 reps. You grow like as if like you took steroids, like, you know, and you're stronger than people like who weigh more than you. And, like, I used to get these compliments. That's the only reason I'm saying this. Like, you know, like somebody asked me, like, hey, you know, like, how much do you weigh? Because like we were like doing the same thing, like we're sharing like a barbell or something for like curls, I guess. And then I was like, oh, I weigh this much. And then they were like, oh shit, like you're really strong. They're like, I weigh this much more, and like I'm struggling with this, but you like lifting it like it's nothing, you know. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you just train for size, you might not have the strength, and you might have to put on more weight just to be able to lift the same amount of like, you know, weight on the bar. It's kind of hard to explain, but ooh, Amanda Lee, another ex's name, great. Oh yeah, super sleazy days, yeah. But yeah, anyways, you know. But yeah, so, you know, 5x5, eating a lot, you know, build that base up. But obviously be careful to get the technique right first, because you don't want to like, you know, hurt yourself with heavy weight. So like kind of learn the technique, but when you have the technique down, go heavy, go 5 reps of 5 sets, and make sure like by the 4th and 5th rep, like you're really struggling, you know, like you're really pushing yourself. Like you could get a spotter, but I don't really recommend it, you know, because like most of the times like the spotters don't really know what they're doing. And if like obviously it's nice to have for like benching, because like you could really hurt yourself and drop the weight on yourself, right? But for that, my advice is like if you don't really have a proper spotter, try like utilizing like the machines more. Yeah, I know people might be like, cool, but they don't help as much. No, I'm not saying ditch the bar. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like just do like enough weight on the bar that you know like you can handle without like ever getting into trouble. Like don't try to push it too much on the bench, right? But then after like you worked your stabilizing muscles, then you can like go to like the machines that like concentrate on the chest muscles, like chest presses and all that, right? Like the machine versions, and go heavy as you want, because you're still building like, you know, the stabilizers, and you could go heavier. Because like the only reason I'm saying this, like I know a lot of people might disagree, right? But like when I used to have like spotters and stuff with me, like honestly they had no idea what they were doing, right? And I realized like because of their like lack of knowledge, like they actually made it harder. You know what I mean? Like they actually made it like if I was just doing it by myself, the chance of injuries was way less, to be honest, because I would know, okay, I control it like this, and even if the weight is too heavy, like I know how to drop it, right? But they just like they have no idea most of the times. And like, you know, after that one experience on like a shoulder press, I was like, man, it's not even worth it, because most of them, they don't even know where to like spot you from. They like grab your wrist. That's not the best way to do it. It's supposed to be under the elbows, but you know what I mean. And then some people, they don't spot enough, and then others spot too much, and then it's like you're not really working out shit. You're getting like, you know, the stress that you really need on the muscles. So if you don't have a spotter and you don't care for one, that's fine. You can go a little bit lighter and just like slow down the reps, like really slow them down, and feel like the stress on your muscle a bit longer. Like trust me, I could make like 25 pounds feel like 50s easy, you know what I mean? So it's all about technique as well. But obviously the heavier you lift, the heavier, like the stronger you'll be. right? But then you also have to like eat a lot to like support and maintain those strength and size gains, you know. And then after they plateau or they stop, then you can like be like, all right, you built up enough like a proper base, right? And now you can like go and like, you know, start doing like more bodybuilding type things, like higher rep ranges, and like just go for hypertrophy at that point, you know. I mean, obviously like some people might disagree with me, but this is like based on my personal experience and what worked best for me, you know. In fact, like you can like, you don't always have to go 8 to 12. Like if you feel like, you know, that's too light or too like much. Like I noticed like jumping from like 5 reps to like 7 reps gave me like the best of both worlds. Like it gave me size and strength. So, you know, or you could just go like, you know, 7 to 8 reps or whatever, like have that be your heaviest. But just like 2 reps made a huge difference for me. But then again, I was also like, I increased the sets from 5 to 7 as well, right? So I was doing more volume too. So yeah, I don't know. And then I used to do like ass to the grass squats. Like I was the first one to do that shit at my gym. And people like used to be so amazed, like people who were like way bigger than me and on steroids. Like I used to like lift as heavy as them, you know what I mean, if not heavier, because like my form was like just next level proper. And I used to like have people like wanting to be friends and stuff, and like complimenting my form and be like, yo shit bro, you're strong as hell. But you know, so it was nice getting getting compliments from like steroid people, because you know, it's like, you know, you achieved all this without the help of anabolics or androgens from external source. So, you know, it's nice. And obviously got a lot of women following, you know. So yeah, good times.